Gotta bring us on camera. Shady, you know just how hard it is to be a two-time league-leading rusher. You know how hard it is to be a league-leading rusher. You lead the Philadelphia Eagles all-time in rushing yards, over 10,000 yards of your own right. So viewers at home, you're in the presence of excellence, as I am as well. Shady, break this down, because your opinion is truly the most valuable on television today. Does Zeke have any mileage left? For those at home that want to acquire Zeke for their team, for the Cowboys that might be sad they let him go, does he have any mileage left?
I'm going to say yes. I think he has a lot of, has some fuel left, right? He might not have the old Zeke fuel, but he has something. You know, on them cars, see, now that I'm on TV now, I drive more. Like, normally, people would drive me around, my homeboys, my friends. But now I'm on TV, I drive myself. And I always run out of gas, right? So you would say I'm on empty, but then this little meter comes up. It's called reserve fuel.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think he has enough reserve fuel where you might go to a team where they might have a solid running game, but they might need a power back. They might need a guy for 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2s on the goal line. Zeke can do that. Now, this year he would have had $11 million, I think, was his salary. And you can't have him making $11 million from the production he gave this year, the last couple of years. And then Tony Pollard did franchise tagged him at $10 million. So he's going to be the star going forward. I just think that, man, like, people want to bash him for how he's been playing, but a lot of it is the team. See, as a running back, when you want your running back to have 300 carries, it adds up. You beat him up, so now he has nothing really left. But if you're a team that needs a power back, I think Zeke is the guy, because he still can do that.
Let me try to paint the whole picture of Ezekiel Elliott. I think he has...
Oh, wait, real quick. And by the way, when I was 28 years old, I had 1,600 yards, 14 touchdowns. Now, Zeke ain't that. Zeke can't do that. No, I was messing with you. I like to throw my stats in there any chance I get.
Hey, you should have started talking. You waited too long.
I just started like, hold on, at 28 years old, what did I do 28 years old?
You were still doing it. You were still doing it. Let me paint the whole picture of Ezekiel Elliott, because some people try to have it skewed. I'm going to paint the picture, and you all can decide if he has any mileage left. Since Zeke got into the league, he has 2,100 carries. The next most, 2,100 touches. The next most, 1,800 in Derrick Henry. So Zeke has 309 more touches than the second leading toucher of the football in the National Football League. What the Cowboys do, they get everything out of their running backs. We've seen it before with DeMarco Murray, who I had to go up against. Does Zeke have any mileage left? Y'all got to remember, Zeke has not scored a touchdown outside of the red zone since 2019. He has 1,100 touches since 2019 and has not scored a touchdown outside of the red zone since 2019. Does Zeke have any miles left? Zeke scored 12 touchdowns last year. 8 of them were 2 yards or less. 10 of them were 6 yards or less. His longest touchdown last year was 14 yards. Does Zeke have any mileage left? Every single year since he's been in the league, his yards per game have declined, starting his rookie year at 108, leading the league, to last year at 58. So I do believe that Zeke has, like Shady said, that reserve gas left. The biggest problem, and I'll end it like this, Zeke has a first-team name with second-team game. And that's truly the problem. When you got first-team names like Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Cam Newton, when you got first-team names, you got to have first-team game. And I think Zeke has a first-team name, Will Blackmon, with second-team game.
Y'all say, what, because it rhymed?
Because it was a bar.
It was a bar?
It was a bar.
It was.
And it's kind of true.
Yeah, well, that too.
I know, but y'all, Anyhow.
Can they, Okay, can I get support?
We'll you at some point, too.
Thank
you just got to bring it.
Say something. Say a bar, and you're going to get
it. For a minute.
I'm saying that was
the Florida hate.
No, a little bit of jealousy.
Anyhow, it was a little bit of jealousy. I want to say that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, does Zeke have any miles left? He doesn't have the 4.5, 4.7 mileage
per carry,
left. But I believe being at 27, having the experience of being the whole offense for years in Dallas, I think he does add value to a team. Now, I will take in consideration that he did play with the grade 3 PCL tear 2 years ago. And the last year, he played with an MCL tear. So, obviously, dealing with those knees and playing through those injuries, a grade 3 is like vicious. Like, that's requires surgery pretty much. For him to do that, that definitely beat his body up. But I think, like you mentioned, 3rd down is key. Obviously, his pass protection is, is really good, too. He does have really good hands out the backfield. And 12 TDs, I don't care if they're 12 TDs. I'm a big, I watch soccer. Ronaldo, all his points, they're all chip-ins. He just finds a way to get to the box and he kicks it in. It's a goal. So I think he does add value to, I would say, an experienced team, a veteran team, a team that's ready to compete. But yeah, does he have the same mileage as before? He does not. He's not the home run hitter that I'm used to playing against.
Isn't that the biggest thing, though, in your mind, Will? Because it's like, if you are going to acquire a running back like Zeke, and Shady, I can't wait for you to speak to this as well, but if you're going to acquire a running back like Zeke, that comes with something. Like, your name precedes you. Shady McCoy precedes you. Like, when Shady shows up into a building, that's Shady. I've seen his highlight.
He's not even LeSean. He's not LeSean.
He's not even Shady.
He's not LeSean. He's Shady.
But he's not Ezekiel. He's Zeke. Right. He's a one-namer in the NFL.
Right.
He is a one-namer.
Right.
Like, I don't know, Will, that, averaging 3.8 yards a carry is worth the potential, is worth that one-namer. Like, speak to that, though. Speak to is Zeke worth it for a team?
He's not going to come in and I don't think be the star back. I think he'll play a similar role to he is now, where he might be next to another young back that he can run.
Do you see him starting on any team?
Question.
I can still see him being a starter, but he's not going. I don't think he'll add the same impact as he did when he was a feature back.
Weigh in on that, Slick.
For me, it's a matter of, is he more focused on that he's a first-team name or that he has a second-team game?
You're saying, where's his mind at?
Where's his mind at? Is he willing
right.
to embrace that secondary role now, right? Because that's going to be the key. And I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but we all respect Zeke's football IQ. Like his ability to play the game and to do the little things necessary to be effective beyond just being a physical freak, which is what he was initially.
Right. Yep.
So if he's willing to do that and utilize that, not just for himself, but for your running back's room, depending on who you have there, then I can see that. But the whole question is going to be, does he come in saying, I'm Zeke? Or does he come in saying, I'm Ezekiel Elliott. I know where I am in my career right now, and I still want to play.
The best part about this show is more often than not, we have the credible people to speak to every question that you might have or somebody on the desk has. Shady, you went to the Kansas City Chiefs and won your first of 2 Super Bowls after being a league-leading rusher, after leading the league in touchdowns during the course of your career. What is it like having to go from being the guy to being a guy? Because that's what Zeke would have to do.
Yeah, I mean, as you was talking, I don't think, like, man, that's I've been there. That's tough to do. What helps you out is, A, the team, right, depending on where you go, and then, B, the players on that team, right, players and coaches. So I was blessed to go to Kansas City. Now, going there, I had a big name, but there's a lot of other big names on that roster. So I had to check my ego at the door. And then you got a coach like Andy Reid who he knows how to manage all these superstars in one room. He knows how to manage that. And I didn't start at first, but I had to work my way in there. Then once I got the starting job, moving on, then I didn't play. That's where it was tricky because all the players knew that eventually Shady gonna play. Like, you serious? Right. And then once I started playing and things then was going well, whatever happened with the playing role, I wasn't playing. But my thing is, it was tough to do. I cannot sit here and lie. It was tough to do. But it's all about, like, the maturity level, where he's at in his career, mentally. And, hey, what's he want in life? Does he want a championship? Yep. In Dallas, he never was going to get that. Right? So now I go to a good team like the Chiefs, where now it's like, okay, even if I'm not playing as much, I'm locked in. I want to get a championship. But I can help my team.
Let me come to you on this one then, 2-5, because I stepped away from football at the age of 25. I realized I wasn't going to be LeSean McCoy. I wasn't going to be a Will Blackmon. I could scratch and claw, but let me step away. Surely I had more in the tank, but let me step away. You went to the Chiefs at 31. Running backs are notably over the hill after 30. Zeke is only 27.
Yeah.
Right.
So given the fact that Zeke is only 27, let me talk to the 27-year-old running back superstar LeSean McCoy. Could the 27-year-old Shady have been able to do what Zeke has to do?
That's a great question. That's why you get paid the money.
But I will say, I think he's shown great maturity on how he handled the situation in Dallas, splitting time.
Of course.
Pollard.
But no. See, I push back. I mean, you had to do that. When he gets in the game, so when it first started out, Pollard wasn't getting that many touches.
He wasn't, right.
But every time he touched the ball, air on. So it's like, it's hard to tell a coach, well, why not playing more? Because he like,
right, you see it. Look at the film.
So it's easy to play that role at that point. You don't know what's in his mind. Yeah. But to answer your question, at 28, I had 1,600 yards and 14 touchdowns. So if you tell me to go back there, I don't know how I would think at that age. Frank Gore is one of my best friends. And he always talks about how running backs, when they get to that 30, they get close to it, they start shutting down. And he always tell me, yo, don't think of that.
Right.
Right? Let your body tell you what you can do or not. But when you see it on tape, you're not playing well at 28, 29. And we've seen a lot of running backs, like Gurley. I thought Gurley was phenomenal. I think the injuries were on him. And then when he got to 28, 29, it started shutting down.
I got to stay here because this is fascinating. Bear with me, producers. I got to stay here. Oftentimes, there's a psychology principle called self-handicapping. And self-handicapping is when we create different excuses for ourselves. So when we underperform, we lean back on the excuse we created for ourselves.
I've been there.
Shady, I'm coming back to you on this one. Let me break it down layman's terms.
You were a psych major, weren't you?
Yeah, master's.
Yo, me too.
Master, he corrected me. My bad.
Let me put it in context, though. Let me put it in context. You don't study for a test so that when you fail the test, you be like, oh, well, I didn't study. Shady, the reason I bring that up is, does Zeke actually realize that he's only a 58 yards per game, 3.8 yards per carry running back? Or in Zeke's mind, is it because of his PCL? Is it because of his MCL? Is it because the offensive line wasn't good? Because Tyron Smith wasn't out there? Because we had a 40-year-old Jason Peters, whereas LeSean McCoy had a 32-year-old Jason Peters? Is the running back, is the player, are they actually realizing, you know what, I don't have it like I used to, or are they in denial?
I think with players, competitive players, with football players, with boxers, with basketball players, you always think that you're better than what you are.
Always.
Right? Even when you lose a step, well, let me lose some weight. I'll be a little quicker. Like even when my attributes and my talent start slipping, I knew it, but I was like, I still got this, right? And I think that he probably has a little bit of that, like he still can get it done. But there's another side to this thing, man, and it's called the truth. It's called that conscious, where when I watch tape of myself, Zeke is probably saying the same thing. Damn, I don't look the old 2016, 2015 Zeke that I am now at 22.
27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was saying a year. But anyway.
23,
Yeah, got it.
So he knows that going in there. You know that.
Right.
You all, and I had this,
I'm sorry, the money part. You can't go from making $11 million, or at this year, $11 million. He gonna get about $2.5 million.
you and I had this conversation too about what you felt. Because the thing that I always impressed me with you is you never took a hit.
Right. That's why I'm moving.
You were able,
I'm dancing, I'm moving around, I'm healthy.
right? And Zeke was like that early on. But now he's getting hit and squared. And you said, like, there were guys where you didn't, like, oh, I don't even have to worry about him. He's not getting to me. And suddenly you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm
touching
taking,
you more.
right?
Yeah.
He ran me down. right. And so that's where the reality comes in too. Like that's the truth coming at you. 245, nailing you square.
I said, safety coach, I can't cover these boys no more.
I watched a young man who had a great career as a youngster. As he got older, he said, I'm done with it. Not only did he quit during the game. I witnessed that.
You were there.
Vontae Davis.
I wasn't going to say his name, Vontae Davis.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.